Welcome everyone to the panel Groundwater in Arabic language on our first Making Groundwater Visible from the Groundwater Project. I'm your host, Everton de Oliveira, and thank you very much for joining us. Your participation is very important for the future of groundwater. Share and like our content. Please upload your picture watching the event and tag it at the Groundwater to be featured on our social media pages. We count on all of you. Like and share our posts, volunteer to help translate books into your mother tongue. Make a difference. Let's make the groundwater visible to all of us and to all the world, okay? Before we start, I would like to thank our sponsors for making this event possible and free for all of you. TDS, Technical Development Solutions from Saudi Arabia. Hydroplan, a consulting company from Brazil. G360 from the University of Guelph in Canada. Solist Equipments from Canada. And Waterloo Barrier also from Canada. And also to all the individual donors. Without them, this noble endeavor would not be possible. Please join them, donate if you are an individual, or add the name of your company to a Game Changer initiative. Arabic is a lingua franca to many countries in our effort to bring groundwater knowledge to all people in the world. Arabic is a must. And we have here today three important hydrogeologists to help the Groundwater Project to reach the Arabic world. They are kind enough to lend their prestige and contacts to a good cause. We have here today Dr. Khalil Al-Samarrai from the University of Tripoli in Libya, Abdalraheem Huwaysh, also from Libya, and Qusai Al-Kubaisi from Baghdad University in Iraq. Thank you very much. You're welcome. Please, Khalil, make a brief introduction about yourself, and we're going to follow the presentations after. I want the three of you to make a brief presentation. Khalil first, please.
Thank you, Everton. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening for everyone. My name is Khalil Al-Samarrai. I'm originally from Iraq, but I'm now based in Libya. I work for University of Libya, Department of Engineering Geology. I have a Bachelor and Master of Science degree in Geology from University of Baghdad and PhD degree in Hydrogeology from University College of London. I have 35 years of experience in water resources field and its impact on environment. I am an author of 3 books. Water Science in Arabic, this is a textbook for the Geology Department, College of Science, University of Baghdad, and Principal Characteristics of Water Environment. This is also published for the public education in Arabic. And the Principle and Application of Hydrogeochemistry. This is a translated book after Erik Erikson of Uppsala University. Everton.
Thank you very much, Khalil. Thank you very much. Thank you for lending us your prestige. Qusai, please, your turn.
Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Prof. Qusai Yaseen Al-Kubaisi from Baghdad, Iraq. I am graduated from College of Science, from Baghdad University, from College of Science in 1984, and take a degree of MSc in 1991, then PhD 1996 from Baghdad University College of Science. I am worked in Scientific Research Council from 1984 as a geologist, then transferred to Baghdad University as a lecturer, then in the same university take a professor degree in 2004 in the Baghdad University College of Science. My specialist in the groundwater. Then I supervised more than 40 students in PhD and MSc, and I have more than 200 scientific paper in the field of water resource and environment. Thank you, Everett.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Qusai. Please, Abdalraheem, your turn now.
Thank you. I am Abdalraheem Huwaysh from Libya. I'm hydrogeologist, have been graduated as a mixed degree from Tripoli University in 2015. I'm a staff member in the geology department in the Faculty of Science at Tripoli University. I'm also working as an executive director and the joint authority for the study and development of the Nubian sandstone aquifer system. I'm interested mainly in the groundwater modeling. I published many researches and papers. I contributed in many water events, either in Libya or worldwide. That's briefly. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So now we have your presentations, please, Doctor. What's the preference? It's going to be Khalil, Abdal, and then Qusai. Is that okay for you guys?
Okay,
thank you very much. So, Dr. Khalil, please, your turn. Take your time.
I'm going to talk in this event about the importance of water in the life of MENA countries. MENA countries, MENA is an acronym. MENA is an acronym for Middle East and North African countries. MENA countries share same challenges in water resources, since most of the countries receiving less than 100 millimeter. This is the map of the MENA countries, and this map shows the amount of millimeter received by them. Several institutes and agencies studied the water resources in MENA countries. Among them, the study executed by University of Gothenburg, which emphasized the key waters problem and their causes. The key problems emphasized by this study is the quantity and the quality, which is the first problem. The countries using more of their water resources than the region receives each year. Also, the quality decreased due to that the problem impacted by the using of water, by the misuse of the water, lead to increased level of salinizations and alkalinity. The second problem is the water dependence. Most of the countries depend on water resources lie on cross-national borders. The interdependence is often asymmetric due to upstream, downstream, and to regional power structure. Climate change also affects the water resources in the MENA countries, which is the third key problem discussed, adding stress to that formed by the previous problems. Warming in MENA region is higher than the global mean warming, and rainfall across the region decreases. These two factors lead to decrease in water availability. Another factor, which is rising sea level affect 18,000 kilometers of coastline, have negative effects on water drainage and sewage disposal, and affect groundwater resources through saltwater intrusion to the coastal aquifers. The fourth key, which is the causes of water-related problems, the points here is large population growth, which increase water demand, and inefficient use of water. Regardless of a growing population, 88% of the water resources are allocated to the agricultural sector. This allocation linked with the policy of food security. The linkage is not realistic, as this is not enough, as there is no enough water available. In addition, water efficiency is low, forming 37 to 53%. The impact of these water-related problems leading to a statement, we can say that no water available. The no low water availability limits the factor for development in the MENA region and negatively affects the socio-economic conditions and consequences. Libya, as one of the countries of the MENA region, made a project with the EU Commission called WELL. So this collaboration, WELL is the acronym for the Water and Energy for Life in Libya. This project aims to strengthen the capacities of the General Water Authority and reinforcing the cooperation capacities and research activities. Of course, a consortium has been constructed. This consortium, made from 4 participants, was set to lead the project. One Libyan organization represented by Groundwater Authority and 3 EU organizations, 2 from Spain and 1 from Italy. The 2 from Spain are CERSI and CTM, and the 1 from Italy is the REDEN, represented by REDEN organization. The project consists of 6 work packages, each package led by one of the consortium participants, and each package has its own tasks, deals with the objectives and aims of the project. The main object or the main outcome of the project is that using the GWA, by increasing its capacity, to make it use the rule, the triple helix as a rule for governance. Here, GWA will be the coordinator, to apply its coordinator with the universities, industries, and the government to apply its projects and policies and the strategies they set for Libya water resources management. And thank you, and waiting your questions.
Thank you very much, Khalil. Very, very nice presentation. It's quite an important project. We're coming back to it in a few moments. Abdal, your turn now, Abdalraheem.
Thank you very much. First of all, I would like to take this opportunity to express my gratitude to dear Everton and his team for this nice organization of this event, which is entitled as to make the groundwater visible. And we know that the groundwater is a hidden resource, and to make it visible is a very difficult task, and we hope we can do it together and make it visible and to be studied everywhere in the world. So in this presentation, I will focus briefly on the situation of the groundwater resources in Libya. As we know that Libya is a vast country with its territory approaches about 1.8 million square kilometers, but most of the Libyan territories, or 90%, more than 90% of the Libyan territories receives less than 100 millimeter of annual rainfall, which makes the contribution of the ground, of the surface water, is very limited. And more than 97% of the available water resources is groundwater. So the groundwater for the Libyans is very important and will have to be studied continuously. The surface water contribution is less than 0.1%, and salinated water less than also 0.1%, whereas the treated sewage water contribution is about 0.64%, as we can see from this pie chart. So according to the reports of the international organizations, Libya usually classified as one of the poorest water countries. The water resources in Libya are conventional and non-conventional water resources. The conventional water resources consist of the surface water and the groundwater, whereas the non-conventional water resources consist of the desalination of the desalinated seawater, and the water transported from the desert by the man-made river project, and finally by also the wastewater reuse. The available water resources, also most of them are non-renewable, unfortunately. Non-renewable groundwater represents the major part or the major portion of the available conventional water resources in Libya. Even though the surface water contributing to some extent, exactly 18 dams were constructed throughout the past 40 years in Libya in order to use this rainwater as to be collected in dam lakes and to be used for different purposes. This table summarizes the 18 dams constructed in Libya, and also the natural springs or the groundwater springs contributed to some extent with little quantities in the water demand in Libya. The most important resource, which is the groundwater, divided into 6 hydrological basins with different water availability and different water quality. The most important or most interesting groundwater aquifers located at the southern part of the country. The population is concentrated at the coastal area here. So this map shows how the quality and the depth to water changes from one place to another. And as we can see here, the depth to water is very small at the southern areas, and the quality also of the water is better at the southern part. That's what made the politicians in Libya thinking to transport the water from the desert, from the Sahara, towards the coastal area where the population is relatively high. Libya has a very good experience in the management of the shared aquifers or transboundary aquifers. The Joint Authority for the Study and Development of the Libya Sandstone Aquifer System has been established 30 years ago in order to manage the collaboration of the management of this groundwater resource. The Libya Sandstone Aquifer System, shared by 4 countries, which are Libya, Egypt, Sudan, and Chad. It covers an area of about 2.2 million square kilometers, and it's one of the biggest fossil groundwater storage in the world. The objectives of the Joint Authority for the Study and Development of the Nubian Sandstone Aquifer System is to develop the investment of this water resource and to protect and maintain this resource and to get finally the sustainability of the water from this non-renewable resource indeed. The authority is managed by board members, consist of 12 persons, 3 of each country, and it has a director or executive director in Tripoli, the capital of Libya, and with 4 national offices in each one of the capitals from the 4 countries. Another shared aquifer or transboundary aquifer is the Northern Sahara or Northwestern Sahara aquifer system, which is shared by Libya, Tunisia, and Algeria. This is another shared aquifer used for the contribution in the demand of the groundwater in Libya. The non-conventional resources, we have the desalination plants. Even though Libya has a very long coastal line, about 1,900 kilometers along the Mediterranean, but only 14 plants were constructed for the seawater desalination. And most of these plants are not working properly due to technical problems. The other part of the non-conventional water source, which is the man-made river, as I have mentioned, that the groundwater in Libya, with the very good characteristics either for quantity and quality, at the southern part of the country where the population is very low. So the water is being transported by the man-made river with pipelines of 2 meters diameter from the Saharan area towards the coastal part of the country, where the population is relatively high and the consumption of the water is relatively higher. This map shows the phases of the man-made river, 4 phases, some of them completed more than 30 years ago, and some of them are under construction now. Hundreds of wells were drilled, about 1,300 wells drilled at the Sahara, and about 4,000 kilometers of pipes constructed to transport the water from the southern part of the country toward the northern part. We have talking about the water resources, and we'll have to see the water demand now. Most of the water demand is required for the agricultural sector, for agriculture in my country, and the small other portions for the domestic and for the industrial use. And the authorities of Libya in 2010 published this budget of the water balance. As we can see here, we have the available water resources from different resources, non-conventional and conventional resources, and compare it to the current water demand in 2010. As we can see, there is a shortage in the water balance at the coastal areas, which are the Jafara Plain and the Damas Basin, and the coastal area there is, which is the red color here, there is a shortage in the water balance in this area where the populations are relatively high. The management or sector management of water in Libya consists of or supervised by the General Authority of Water Resources, under which so many authorities, as we can see from this diagram, are administrating the sector. There are some challenges, as in other countries, facing the water sector in Libya. The most important challenge is seawater intrusion. As we have mentioned, that Libya has a long coastal line, and the consumption of the water is higher at the coastal area, so the seawater intrusion is increasing every year in the coastal area, and this makes the groundwater shortage. Also, the pollution of groundwater either at the activities of the oil production, where the disposal of associated water and oil products are disposed in disposal ponds which are completely unlined, or for also the disposal ponds of sewage water at rural areas. There is no suitable treatment for the sewage water, which makes the contamination of groundwater is continuing by these unlined disposal plants. Also, there is an environmental impact of the excessive groundwater discharge from the man-made river well field. There is a collapsing or subsidence at the desert area has happened recently, and this requires a decrease of the water pumping from this area. Illegal use of groundwater. We have laws to control, to govern the use of groundwater, but the implementation of these laws is not implemented properly. Also, in Libya, there is production of crops which are consuming so much water, fragmentation of agricultural land holdings, and low tariff or low water tariff and poor recovery rates. The water in Libya is nearly free of charge, which makes the consumers are using or consuming the water without limits. And also we have another problem, which is the inadequacy of institutional framework. So the question that we are trying to answer as a hydrogeologist in Libya, is Libya running out of water? And this hydrogeologist, is trying to make the groundwater visible with his handless. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. You raised very important points there, and we're going to come back to discuss that after Qusai presentation. Please, Qusai, your turn now. Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry. Okay. I will speak today about the groundwater in Iraq. Yeah. We have in Iraq two big rivers, as you know, Tigris and Euphrates River. Here are them. Okay. As you know, the river basin are more 126 kilometers of Tigris about the Euphrates. Okay. The water sources in Iraq, as you see in this map, we have two big rivers, Tigris and Euphrates. Tigris and Euphrates, and we have more than dams like Mosul Dam and Derbendikhan and Dokan Dam, here Ahmrin Dam. All of them are an Azim Dam on the Tigris River, while the Haditha Dam on the Euphrates rivers. Okay, if you see this slides about to present the map of Iraq about the distribution of rain. The little amount of rain is special in this area, in the western of Iraq and south, while the highest is more than 600 millimeter in the north and northeast. This has been annual values of hydrological parameters in Iraq, like evaporation, rainfall, relativity, and etc. The main hydrogeological zone of Iraq, 5 in this north and northeast, which represent the thrust zone, and the other with that folded zone here, folded zone, while the lower folded this area, and the Al Jazeera, this is the area between Tigris and Euphrates, this Al Jazeera zone, and this western desert zone, and this Mesopotamia zones, the area between the Tigris and Euphrates, and this southern desert zone. The depth of the groundwater in the hydrogeological zone is vary from less than 10 meter in this area, in Mesopotamia zone, and the more than 300 in this area, and this area. Okay. The suitability of the groundwater for agricultural purpose. This is this area, as you see in there, in the north and northeast, is good and excellent. Where in this good, where this area, Mesopotamia, is very poor for suitable for agriculture. This is the main hydrogeological map of the Iraq. Okay, just to show it. The distribution of zone of sectors, which are characteristics of point of view that reflect different conditions for storage and movement of groundwater as follow. As you saw in this area and this areas, I low mountain, and this Mesopotamia and Al Jazeera, as you okay. This mountain region section respect the lands whose height more than 1,500 meters above sea level, passing through of cities like Dhok, Accra, and Qusai, and up to Iranian borders. The area consists of impermeable igneous rock with a great slope and does not contain groundwater. The second undulation zone section represents the confine between the high mountain region and the Hemreen in this area, and this is a mountain. Okay, this is border from the southeast by land passing through the cities of Sinjar, Sinjar, Tel Afar, the Mbeji, and up to the city of Mandli. Here is the Mandli city. Layers of this zones, limestone, sandstone, sometimes clay, and saline layers and cohesive layer are rocks. Sorry, gravels are the rocks of the main area that contain groundwater. So the quality of the groundwater is locally and significantly variable. The undulating nature of the area helps to form limited water basin in which a balanced surface and subsurface runoff is formed. The contribution of the renewable water to subsurface runoff is relatively important. Yeah. The third is a Jazeera area or zone. This sector is bordered by the north by the undulating zone and is mainly represented by the Jazeera region bounded between the Tigris and Euphrates River to the north of the Balad. The limestone and sandstone layers successive with the clay and sometimes salt layers are the bed rocks carrying groundwater in this region. And the groundwater moves slower levels in thin of sandstone and faster in the dissolving pores of the salt layers and limestone limited separate. The desert region is western of Iraq, western and southern desert, west and south of Euphrates. Is characterized by multi-layer sedimentary thickness dominated by many formations of limestone and dolomite sandstone, depth more 1,000 meters. Groundwater moves through fissures of limestone and dolomite and in sandstone pores, and layers are often confined to multi-layer levels. The quality of groundwater varies depending on the source of recharge and the nature of the porous medium that moves within it. The water quality is generally good to medium and usually better in deep desert area than its age. Mesopotamia here covers the southern region of the country, the south of Jazeera region and the east of desert region. This reach more than 1,000 meters and contain groundwater that's often of high salinity as a result of return irrigation water that mix with the slow-moving groundwater. The structural condition of Wadi al-Rafidain helps it to gathering in this region during a long period of time. There are areas with medium salinity, except at Iranian Iranian border, where there is a narrow strip of phanetic sediments that may contain water that can be invested in limited way at Mbedra and Isra east of Misan. This slide will present the total numbers of the more than 58,000 well drilled in the all of Iraq. Here is the distribution of aquifers, of mainly aquifers in Iraq, as in the Holocene sediment in this area, which consists of gravel and sand and clay deposits. Presence in the Mesopotamia and south of undulating area, as well as covering areas of western small hair area. Yeah. The second is by Hassan Formation. It's present in the undulating area and north of Iraq, which consists of gravels present in an undulating area and eastern of Mesopotamia. The third is Magdadia Formation. Sorry, in this area, it's like in present the confined aquifer, while in this strip area is present and unconfined. The other is a Dibdib formation, which belong to the Paleocene time in the southern, and the little like fans in the middle near Karbala and Najaf area. The Injana formation was represent the middle Miocene, as you show here, in the north and northeast of Iraq, present in the undulating area and the north of the Mesopotamia. The Euphrates formation, which is present to lower Miocene, here in the beside the Euphrates River, which is consists of chalky limestone and is located in the desert area. The Dammam formation, which belong to the Eocene age, it consists of limestone in the western desert and some here in the western desert. The Pilaspi formation, it belongs to the Eocene age. It consists of limestone and dolomites located in the undulating region. The Umardoma, which belongs to the Paleocene, it consists of a limestone and dolomite. It's located in the western desert. Tayarat formation, which represents the upper Cretaceous in the western desert. This widespread, it represents the confined aquifer, what in this white green, like this color, it's unconfined. Accra Bakhma formation, Cretaceous, belong to Cretaceous. In this area, north and northeast of Iraq, it consists of a limestone and dolomite. The Hartha formations represent the Cretaceous. It here was a western desert. Consists of limestone and the dolomite. Amlusa formation belong to the upper Triassic age. It consists of a fractured dolomite limestone. It's located in the desert area. And the Ara formation, it belongs to Permian age. It consists of clay and sandstone, and it's located in the desert. Thank you for your attention. I am happy because I am speak there with about my groundwater in Iraq. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for all of you for your time and nice presentations. I'd like to start with Khalil, since he presented first. What for us, when we, for us, I mean, someone like me in Brazil, far from you guys, right? We have an idea of the your region, right? And you had a nice presentation showing the MENA region for us, and people can see the similarities and how you try to work together to solve similar problems. And water is in the center of your concerns because, of low rainfall, as you mentioned. So the idea is, how can we, or what do you expect from the groundwater project and working together with people speaking in Arabic, that we could have your input towards groundwater? Because when we have plenty of water, is a different idea than when we have, scarcity, as you mentioned. When you have scarcity, apparently you think better the groundwater use and water use in general. So what do you think of your experience? The three of you presented similar ideas of, on your regions. What do you think we could use from your experience, and you can tell the world using the groundwater project, please?
Uh, I would like to mention that all the MENA countries are shared also a project with the EU Commission entitled Five Toys. Five Toys, this project deals with the management of water, water, energy, and food. They call it the Water, Energy, Food Nexus. All the MENA countries shared this project, and they put each one of them, they put their view in this project. Also Libya, as part of this project, we set our thinking about using of water. We concentrate about the using the term precision water, precision irrigation, and the awareness as well. The management in all these countries, although they put several policies through the past years, 50, 60 years ago, till now, there is no success in each of the policies due to certain problems. The problems is that the people are misusing the water, whether they are surface or groundwater. So this means that awareness is very weak, disseminated among the people, which reflect the habitat of the people. So we see that in areas with good quantity of water and in areas with scarce of water, they behave the same. So the problem that we have to make all together, we have to put another policy. As I suggest, I think, from my opinion, I did a study here in Libya about using some old quarries for dumping wastes. So I studied this area and I saw that the solution goes from this dumping waste to the groundwater and what's its impact on it. The thing is that I followed research of two researchers, Anja and Julian, 2002. They are suggested the concept of pro-environment. To be a friend of the environment, how to be a friend of the environment by studying the behavior of people. So education and conscious, they arise, these two concepts, environmental education and environmental conscious. These two lead us to be pro-environment. Now I'm thinking to do a model like this. We have to do groundwater education and then groundwater conscious to be pro groundwater use. So this is my opinion. I think we have to work all together here in the Arab countries or in the MENA countries, in the Middle East and North Africa, in the same sense, using the same policy, since all the countries sharing the same problem. It doesn't matter whether there are plenty of water or whether there is a scarce water, because this is a man behavior. So psychology is, and I think, and sociologists, the psychologists and sociologists should work together to make the awareness as part of the education. So in this case, I think we can overcome the problems we face, not even in the MENA, I think, but in any other part of the world facing the same problem. Yes, Ibrahim.
Thank you very much. Good point. Very good. Very good. Abdalraheem, you mentioned, following Khalil's point, you have presented, and at the end of your presentation, you had some very good points, right? That was necessary. But one thing that I'm pretty sure the public would be interested in is the man-made river. The man-made river is clearly not sustainable, right? What can you say about that? And what is the future of Libya's water if it is based on an unsustainable system like that? That's your final slide there, the man with the.
Thank you very much, dear Everton. I think all the countries in the world are looking for the sustainability, and we know the SDGs and SDG number 6 in particular, which interested with the with sustainability of water. And we as hydrogeologists throughout the world, we should work for the sustainability together. And to complete the answer of my colleague Khalil, I think we had better to try to create consortiums together with you and with other friends in other countries. In Libya, we're lacking the people awareness of the importance of the water, and we are lacking another thing which is important according to my opinion, which is the connection between the researchers and the stakeholders, the consumers. There is no connection, and we should work together to build a very good relationship. The stakeholders should fund and should help for the researchers to look after this resource, the groundwater resource. The main mad river, the main made river is not sustainable resource. They are consuming the groundwater, the pumping the groundwater from the Sahara area where there is no other source of water, no rains there, no rivers, and they pump it to the coastal areas where the populations are relatively high, and that was the only solution at that time, and this solved the problem for the 30 years ago. But as I have mentioned briefly, there are some environmental impacts of this excessive pumping of groundwater from that area. Sinkholes are being increasing in that part. But fortunately, these sinkholes happened away from the pipeline. So if these collapsing or sinkholes happen beneath the pipeline of the man-made river, it will be a disaster. The water will be cut to the cities, the big cities of Tripoli and Benghazi, and the people will stay without water. The best solution for the sustainability is the desalination of the seawater should be given more interested by the decision makers and by the researchers, and we should push towards this direction for the country such as Libya.
Well, thank you. For those who are interested, he mentioned the problem of you know the sinking and over pumping. We have a book and we have an interview with the authors showing the calculations and how it works. It's very interesting on our groundwater project. You can go there and download that book because it has some very clear explanations on how that works. So that's quite important. Thank you, Abdal. Qusai, you share similar problems as you mentioned, show the hydrogeology of Iraq. What can you say about the situation in Iraq? What this situation, since you have the same experience of some scarcity of water in some places, to tell the world, because we would like, as I mentioned, the groundwater project is not only about distributing the knowledge of some people, but gathering knowledge from all places in the world, because the specific knowledge could be used to solve problems in other places. So what can you tell us about your experience, and how can we relate that to the groundwater project from your region and to the world, please?
Okay. Here in Iraq, we have two big rivers. And this situation in my country, they then take some rest about the quantity of water. But in the last years, some problem about what the sharing country with Turkey and Iran and Syria about the quantity of water. So the leaders focused on the groundwater in our country. As you see in my papers or what the groundwater is distributed in the more than situation in my country, and different from the north to the south to the east and the west, and they are characteristic in the in different aquifers and different depths. The problem here in Iraq about the groundwater, in some of them salinity, some of them they are what I mean in the without any law of drilling, many drilling wells in country without any plant. So I agree. What about my colleagues, Dr. Khalil, about seeing there need policy of groundwater, and maybe about to groundwater, how education, especially in schools, and how to protect our groundwater here in Iraq. So some of farmers or some of the peoples drill the wells, many wells, but some of them wells are when protect the water, it's more saline. They are leave and damage the aquifer of the this amount of the water. So I must to put another or a big policy about groundwater here in Iraq. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, you showed a problem that is common to all of you that I would like you to stress a bit for us. Is the transboundary aquifer problems. How can you tell us or what is being done that we can learn from your experience on how countries working together are solving that problem?
Me?
Anyone?
Okay. We have the transboundary aquifer with the Saudi border. No problem about this, but some of quantity of water in some aquifers between border of Iraqi and Iranian, they use of all of them for a big quantity of water, and they need some plan about use it and some cooperation between the leaders of the countries, or maybe Iran and Iraq. Okay.
Abdalraheem,
Yes.
you want to say something?
For our experience in the ground and in the transboundary aquifers, we know that the water flow, groundwater flow, don't care with the political borders. The water is flowing according to the gradient and the water passing the borders. So the collaboration with the neighboring country is a must. We in Libya and Egypt, Chad, and Sudan, these four countries, we have established a pioneer authority, which is the joint authority for the study and development of the Nubian sandstone aquifer system. And since the 1990, this authority is working well. We are exchanging data concerning the water levels. We in Libya know the water levels in Egypt and the groundwater in Chad and Sudan. Periodically, we have a meeting of the member board every year and discussing the problems and the environmental impact throughout this huge transboundary aquifer system, which covers, as I have said, about 2.2 million square kilometers. This is a huge fossil water aquifer, and will have to be managed together in order to protect this resource.
Khalil, please.
Yes. In fact, in 2003, I engaged in study here in project in Libya, studying the water case in Libya. In this project, I raise a point is that we should not follow the governmental policies, or even the neighbor countries, and we should concentrate on the technical points in making management of surface water or groundwater. And I ask also, we did this project and we discussed it here. I ask also to manage groundwater and surface water, even here in Libya. We have lakes, we have streams, I mean, seasonal valleys, flowing water. It's a good quantity. That's why they build dams. So we have to make also a management, sort of management for this surface water to be integrated with the groundwater strategy. So I think still till now, even in all the MENA countries, still the problem of the general policy of the countries and its connection with the international borders. Still the policy govern the thinking of the management. If this part of the thinking not used in the discussion even between the countries, then I think they can reach to points and reach to view they can manage the water resources and be enough for every person in each country. I would like also to mention the things that now making the groundwater needs to be constantly visible. I mean, it is not just when it is at the center of a problem or a crisis. That's what we need. We have to education and disseminate the awareness education among the people, even if they are not following schools or universities, or so we have to set it for everyone, every man, every kids, every woman. So the people should have this kind of policy shared between all the countries, so we can manage reaching the sustainability and reaching the water for everyone living in all countries.
Khalil, you reached a very, very dear point to all of us. We're talking about reaching the regular people, someone who's not aware of how groundwater works.
Yes.
We do know that we have a huge problem ahead of us because we are hydrogeologists, and we know that our science, as Abdalraheem mentioned, and as the name of our event says, making groundwater visible. This is our problem. We are responsible to taking this information to people. Sure. Our idea, when we gather the three of you here, is to start and trying to reach the Arabic-speaking people. Why? Because as I see when you talk among yourselves, it's more comfortable to speak your mother tongue than English, like we're doing now. One of the tools that we've chosen to use is translation. Why? Because translation, first, we can reach a larger audience of hydrogeologists all over the world. If we speak only in English, we reduce, right? We shrink the number of people to those who have a good understanding. So our start is by translations. But this is just the spark of our project. We have to go farther to people that not only don't speak good English, but to people that don't even know hydrogeology, right? So we have to make them aware of the necessity of taking care of groundwater, because this is the future. We do know that if we don't take care of groundwater, we're going to run out of water. So my question for you, for the three of you, is how could you improve this relationship to other towards the Arabic-speaking countries, because we have a lingua franca, which is not usual for many countries, and for you it is, right? People can read that properly in the same language. And what do you suggest for us to do in the future to broaden the reach of our message? Please, who wants to start? Khalil?
Okay, yes. I think I just want to mention that I start this kind of issue by disseminating the knowledge of the water resources through my book. Of course, it's not just me. With my another colleague, Dr. Muqtada Jabari, we wrote a book about the principal characteristics of water environment. We discussed the surface water features, characteristics like rivers, lakes, wetlands, and also about the aquifers and how all these how they are working among the water cycle. So now GW project, I think it has a very big responsibility that we are all should work on disseminating the knowledge among our people through publications and networking meetings, lectures. It's our responsibility to distribute these projects by all of us who are sharing this groundwater project group. So I think we have the responsibility to make new programs among our group for disseminating the awareness and distributing the knowledge of how to protect our water resources, whether it's a surface or the groundwater. And especially we should concentrate on the groundwater in areas. Most of the areas have no surface water, so we have to concentrate on this part of the issue. Okay.
Thank you. So share your knowledge and your prestige to help us on that front. We're sharing the same concept and the same goals. Thank you very much. Abdalraheem and Qusai, you want to say something about that, please?
Sorry. Okay. My goals about groundwater takes from Holy Quran, Al-Quran al-Karim. It's the ayah which is say from Quran, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, وَجَعَلْنَا مِنَ الْمَاءِ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ حَيٍّ. That is mean English, and we made from the water is all of life. Maybe this translate, yeah, in English. So must to take care about this treasure in the earth, and which is MENA groundwater. So make to study it and how to protect this and to how to management of this treasure. And enough. Thank you.
Thank you. Abdalraheem, please.
Yes, concerning this point, I think I have to. First of all, I think if we think with an Arabic copy of this groundwater project, with the Arabic language in particular, even in the future, it will be very useful for the dissemination for the publication of the knowledge about the groundwater. And also, we should concentrate on the NGOs. I have very good experiment with some of the NGOs here in Libya concerned with the water and really concerned with surface water and field water. But for the groundwater, is not yet. There is no NGOs related to the groundwater. These two steps, if we started with them, I think they will contribute as a beginning for the awareness of the people with the groundwater and its importance for their life.
Thank you. Thank you. Quite important. Well, I see that we all share the same goals, and your presentations were quite interesting for me. Well, our time is up now. We could talk much longer about that, and we're going to come back to you soon because you have lots to provide to the groundwater community all over the world. Your work is quite an accomplishment for your area, and we would like to share with you because share your knowledge and your help because you're doing a great job, as Khalil mentioned in his book. I would like you to later send us the material you're going to show to people here in our presentation, the book for people to access.
Yes.
Okay. Since our time is getting to an end, I would like you to make a final statement to everybody, and especially to the Arabic-speaking people. If you could, at the end of your final statement, say a sentence in Arabic for your public, that will be welcome. Thank you. Please, Khalil, first.
هنا في هذه المناسبة أود أن أذكر أهلنا في الأقطار العربية أو في دول الشرق الأوسط وشمال أفريقيا أن يهتموا بالماء، أن يهتموا باستخدامه، أن يهتموا بكيفية حفظه أيضا، لأنه أي تلوث يحدث إلى المياه العذبة المستخدمة لغرض العيش سوف يؤدي إلى نقصان هذه الكمية، وبالتالي تؤثر على التطور الحياتي لكافة المجتمعات. Should I speak it in English? Okay. I ask all the people in the Middle East and North country to protect the water, whether it is surface or groundwater, and to make wise use of this material, because fresh water is very limited. So if we deteriorate this fresh water, then we will face more shortage, and we will face also less development in our living type. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you very much, Khalil. You please, Qusai.
اوكي. اقول حقيقة الى اخواني وزملائي في الاقطار العربية ان يحافظون على هذه الثروة، لانه هذه الثروة المائية هي مصدر الحياة، واينما تكون المياه هنا تكون الحضارة. ولا اطيل بصراحة، منطلقين من انه بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وجعلنا من الماء كل شيء حي. صدق الله العظيم. Okay. Here I've translated it. Hello everybody in the Arab countries. I must to call or phone or any statement that I will to protect your water, ground or surface water, because this water is the necessary of our lives, special in our countries, and this response from the our Quran. This mean the that the جعلنا من الماء كل شيء حي. صدق الله العظيم. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Abdalraheem, please, your turn.
في البداية يجب أن ننتهز هذه الفرصة لنتقدم بالجزيل الشكر لدكتور إيفرتون والقائمين على هذه المنصة العلمية العالمية، منصة مشروع المياه الجوفية. هذه المنصة التي يعني مكنتنا من التواصل مع أهلنا في الدول العربية ودول العالم للتحدث عن المياه وأهميتها. أود أن أوجه نداء إلى المستهلكين للمياه، سواء كان شركات كبيرة أو مستهلكين صغار، أن يهتموا بالباحثين وأن يهتموا بمن يهتم بدراسة المياه الجوفية بالتحديد، لأنها مياه جوفية عبارة عن مصدر مخفي لا يمكن التعامل معه بصورة مباشرة، وهنا تكمن صعوبة دراستها صعبة ومعقدة، لأنها تتواجد في مسامات صخرية قد تبعد آلاف الأمتار تحت أقدامنا، والتعامل مع هذا المورد المخفي يتطلب الكثير من الجهد، يتطلب الكثير من المال، فيجب من الجميع، من الحكومات ومن الممولين ومن الأفراد، مد العون والتعاون معنا للوصول إلى هذه الدراسات والنتائج والمراقبة المستمرة لهذا المورد. I'll translate to the
Please.
yes. At first, I thanked your platform, the Groundwater project, for giving us this chance to speak to our people in the Arab countries and in the world. I asked the stakeholders and companies and farmers and individuals to cooperate with us as groundwater scientists or researchers, because the groundwater is a hidden resource, and the hidden resource is difficult to deal with it, to be studied without being in direct physical contact. The surface water is relatively easier. You can see the lakes or the rivers at the surface, and you can study them, and you can predict the volume and the contamination very easily. In contrast with the groundwater, I told them that the groundwater is located about thousands of meters beneath under the ground surface, and it's available in porous media with heterogeneities and anisotropy, and this requires big effort and a lot of money to be studied and to be predicted and to be protected as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It was a great pleasure and an honor having the three of you with us. I just loved your presentation and your help. Very good. I share most of your concerns, and let's see if we can work together, because you have great knowledge and lots to offer to everybody in the world. Thank you very much. You're very kind. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We wish successful event for you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, everybody. Thank you very much. We're back here with our very kind interviewed people. They're very nice. Abdalraheem and Khalil. Thank you very much for staying up so late to talk to us. Thank you. Let me put this down here so we can talk. We have here today a very special attendee. Hayati is there on the audience, and she sent you a question. I asked her, because for those of you who are watching us and don't know, she was planned to participate with us and then she participated with Professor Marcilly. Okay, so she was shy to participate on 2 sessions. That's okay. She won't participate today, but she's there, and she asked a question for you guys. So Hayachi from Tunisia. How could you deal with transboundary aquifer conflicts? Any of you?
Who starts, me or Abdalraheem?
Welcome, Khalil. And then Abdalraheem, whatever.
Hello to everybody. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everyone. I think this is a very difficult issue dealing with the transboundary aquifers or transboundary basins. Because, as I said in my lecture, that the politics play a big issue on reaching some agreements. So that's why I'm saying that let the politics be aside, and all the negotiator from other countries should concentrate on the technical issues for the benefits of the people sharing the aquifers or the basins. I think this is a good idea to start with. If we put politics in our mind or in the mind of the negotiator, then they will not reach to any agreement. So this is the major problem. Yes, sir.
I agree, Abdalraheem.
Good evening and good afternoon for you, dear Everton. Thank you for this nice event. It's a really valuable event indeed. Concerning the transboundary cooperation in Libya, we have a very good experience concerning the management of the transboundary aquifers, which is the pioneer authority, which is known as the Joint Authority for the Study and Development of the Nubian Sandstone Aquifer System. This is an authority established by the beginning of 1980s in order to manage one of the most important water resources of the. I can say that it is the biggest fossil water or groundwater in the world, which is the Nubian aquifer system, shared by Libya, Egypt, Sudan, and Chad. This experience makes us pay more attention for the transboundary aquifer water. We are managing this aquifer with very successful cooperation concerning the exchange of periodical data and exchange of experts and training programs and capacity buildings with our neighboring countries. And also we have executed regional research projects funded by international organizations such as the GIF, the Global Environmental Facility, and by UNDP. And now we are preparing for the inception meeting of a new project, which is entitled as Sub-Project Strategic Action Plan. This project is aimed to execute a comprehensive study or to renew the previous studies of the Nubian aquifer. So the cooperation between the neighboring countries is very important in order to manage this resource, because as I have mentioned in my presentation, the water, either groundwater or surface water, does not care with the borders, political borders. The flow will go by the way. if there is a border, a political border or not. So the water is flowing, especially for the groundwater in the porous media, in the deep aquifers, and we'll have to cooperate together in order to understand what's happening in the other countries and how quantities of water are being pumped there in order to keep this resource sustainable. I hope that I could answer the question, Hayat.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I have a question here. That's an interesting question, and I'll add something after the question for you guys. The question came from Imran Aziz Tunio. He excused himself not to stay because he said it was too late and he has classes in the morning. I guess you do too. But he left a question for you. The question for all, but especially for Professor Khalil. The Zamzam is a 35-meter deep well situated in Mecca, in the east of Kaaba, Saudi Arabia. Zamzam's well has been used since 4,000 years. How come Zamzam's well is never depleted? This is maybe a religious subject, but please elaborate in the light of scientific and logical explanation of this phenomenon. I'd like to add something on that, because people outside the Muslim world don't know the story of the Zamzam River. And it's a very beautiful story. If you could tell the story to situate the people here, the Christian people from other religions that don't know the story of the Zamzam River, would be much appreciated. Thank you. Zamzam,
yes.
well, I mentioned river.
Zamzam well. Yes, Zamzam well.
How do you say Zamzam?
First of all, Zamzam, yes. Zamzam well is it's a well in the downstream of the Abram Valley. It is in the downstream of the Abram Valley. This valley consists of the alluvium deposits. So the aquifer is of alluvium, and this aquifer depends on its water, on the recharged water from rainfall and from the connected channels draining to that valley. So the source is runoff and rainfall, both of them recharging this alluvium aquifer. So the depth now is about 35 meter with about 2.5 meter of diameter. In the past, since the water found in this place, and this is of course from this time comes the religious story about the finding of this place. The religious story is that Hajar, it's a wife of Abram. Since God asked Abram to take Hajar to another place, so he immigrated from his living place to Saudi Arabia, to the place. This is the place of Mecca, and he left his son Ismail and Hajar at this place. So the kid felt thirsty and want to drink water. So his mother Hajar started to survey the area to try to find some place to find water to make his kid drink the water. So after running several times in certain places, Ismail pushed his leg to a place, and then during this digging by the lakes, the water comes out. So this means that this place is at the beginning is a spring, water spring comes from this alluvium place. So now this tells us that the water is very near or very close to the surface. And now the water is very deep. So this means for us now that the recharge is the main source. And depending on the amount of recharge,
Right.
and the decreasing of the recharge and the amount of quantity abstracted from the well, the water level reduced to that level at which it is now. So this is the, I think, the exact story about the well. And of course, since it is very near to the Kaaba and it is related to the drinking water for, so the people at that time, the people start to use this well for supplying water for the pilgrimage and for the use of the people living there from that time till now. So this is the story about this well.
The story is very nice. The
Yes.
story is very nice. So the well, but it still produces water and people drinks from the well, right? So
Still, yes, because it depends on recharge, rainfall, recharge to the aquifer.
okay. Well,
On
but
the
the question
rainfall,
that
recharge
people, well, is there a hydrogeologic study of the well itself? Because the region around
Yes,
it
yes,
is sacred,
yes.
right?
Yes, if you go to Wikipedia, you can find a lot of lectures and also articles mentioned even mentioned the stratigraphic sequence and where it is
Okay.
exactly. Yes.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you, Ram, for your question. I have a question here for you guys, because when we had is Gustavo Alves da Silva from Brazil. During the Kuwait War, many wells were set on fire and their extinguishing created groundwater contamination. Some of them, because of the oil, and also from some of them used water from the ocean to extinguish the fire. Could you please elaborate on that? And would you have some information on what happened after that?
When that happened,
Well, during the Kuwait War, there was.
oh yes, no, the fire occurred on the oil wells.
Yes.
You
Oil
know,
wells,
the fire
exactly.
occurred on the
Not
oil
water
wells,
wells.
of course, not no water wells. Yeah.
So,
So
but
this is-
do you have any information about the contamination that was created at that time, or nothing happened after
Well,
that?
I don't think the degree of contaminations and the range of that occurred in Kuwait area. I don't think it is published for the public. So
Okay.
I think that because nobody can trace the information there.
Abdalraheem, you have something to say?
Yes, yes. Generally, the production of oil or oil fields in the desert area are causing a serious contamination to the shallow aquifers in particular. Especially here in Libya, we have at the central part of Libya, it's a rear area, where is the porous sandstone is underlying the surface of the ground surface, and the Wahat area, there is suffering of the people there, that their groundwater is being contaminated seriously by the disposal ponds. We have associated water produced once the oil is pumped from the reservoirs. And these disposal ponds are sometimes unlined, and the disposed water is infiltrating once again towards the underlying porous media, which are the shallow aquifers. And this is a serious problem that there is an argument between the water sector and the oil sector here in the country, and the companies are escaping from paying for the treatment of this associated water. That's a big problem here in Libya, and causing so many troubles and serious environmental impacts on the water resources indeed.
I imagine, I imagine. There's a question for you, Abdalraheem, and for Khalil as well. What is the age of the water pumped for the man-made river, and how long will it last if you keep pumping at the same?
The age is according to the hydrogeological studies or hydrochemical studies, isotope analysis, carbon 14, and so on. It's about 30,000 years ago. It is fossil water, as I have mentioned, from the rain period during the Pleistocene. So this is to be considered as a non-renewable groundwater. Happened at that time, and there was rainy seasons there at this desert area, and the water is stored in the porous aquifers, and now there is no rain there. There no rain at all at the southern part of Libya. And the water is being pumped, so we are consuming a non-renewable resource. It's considered to be as a non-renewable resource, even though there is a little flow of underground flow, not considerable from Chad towards Libya, but it's not considerable. So it's estimated to be of about 50 years long to finish this water. So that's why we are emphasizing all the time to depend on the non-conventional water resources in Libya, to pay more attention for the desalination and for the treatment of sewage water and something like that.
Definitely, definitely. Khalil, you want to add something? No? Well, there is a question here for Khalil. I'm not sure if his connection is good enough. The question is, could you elaborate a bit more on the likely effects of climate change in the MENA region? Khalil, are you, I think his connection is gone. Oh, he's there.
Yes. I'm sorry.
Have you heard my question?
I have heard the climate change on the MENA region.
Yes. Okay, that's it.
Okay. Climate change affects MENA region through 2 points, in fact. One of them is the warming, the temperature, the high temperature it faces, and the rainfall. The temperature in MENA region more warmer than the global mean warming. This means that the area are facing more amount of evaporation, and this amount of evaporation, of course, is going to affect the existence of water resources, and also the rainfall. Rainfall across the region is likely to decrease. So decreasing rainfall means that water recharge to the aquifer becomes less. So both factors are affecting of course, if we add now the growth of population, the high growth of population, which means they need more water, then this means that we are putting a pressure on national development activities. So this is a very simple way to account for the effect of the climate on the MENA region.
Interesting. Thank you. Thank you. There's another question for you, Khalil, from Julia Costa.
I hope I answered my...
Dr. Khalil, you mentioned that 88% of the water resources are located to the agricultural sector in your country. In your opinion,
Yes.
how could these resources be better distributed?
We discussed this. Problem in the project Five Toys, which means that we have to take in consideration water, energy, food, and society and environment nexus. In fact, allocating 88% of the water resources to food sector, this means that the growth of people means they need more food. So leaving the other sectors from getting benefit from the water resources they need for the development. Besides that, as I said, that allocating this amount of water to secure food through food security planning, this is not good because, as I mentioned, that we are facing less rainfall. This means that we have less water availability. So less water available with the growth of people needs more water, needs more food, and then we secure that much amount of water to the agriculture. Of course, there is a tool to deal with this problem. As I said, the precision irrigation is a good tool to deal with allocating the quantity of water to the agriculture. But what we have here in Libya, in fact, this precision irrigation increased the problem we have because the people they are using more water, which means more energy through their irrigation using the sprinkler and the drop and pivot irrigation. So all the tools used by the droplets, they increase the time of irrigation, and they irrigate during the time which is not good for irrigation, during the hot seasons and the hot time of the day, which increase the evaporation.
Yes.
Then let the salt increase on the top of the surface of the soil, and then this goes now down to the groundwater. So the problem now we are facing is that soil salinization and the groundwater salinization due to misuse of this tool, which is set for getting less water for much food. So now the relation between water, energy, and food nexus is not worked in our application because of the misusing of these tools. So the allocation, of course, the allocation must be managed well for the development of people to be more sustainable. In fact, now we have, I think, during the last week, we finished managing in a city to make the input to the city from water, and we managed that through an MSc thesis. We planned the energy and the amount of water enter the city of Zwara without losing them. And recycling, we put a plan to recycle the water, to make less energy supplied, and to less raw water input to the city. So we hope we can apply this system and then to be spread to the other cities. Okay.
Very good. I'd like you to repeat your phrase with the nexus of between water, because that was very good. So people can fix it. That was very good. Could you repeat that again, please?
In fact, it is a triple and quadruple and quintuple. The triple is the water, energy, food nexus.
Yes.
Water, energy, and food nexus. The quadruple is the water, energy, food, and society nexus. The quintuple goes further, that water, energy, food, society, and environment nexus. So the planning, it goes in this kind of system.
Very good, very good. Thank you. We're going to phrase that on our social media. That was very good. Thank you very much, Khalil. I like it.
Okay, welcome.
Another. Yes,
Abdul, your turn. Yes.
Yes, yes. Another approach I think should be followed concerning the use of water in agriculture in a country suffering from shortage of water, such as Libya, which is the use of the virtual water. Some of crops which are water-consuming crops should be imported from abroad better than to be cultivated here in Libya. So many researches and studies deal with this problem, and they output that the cultivation of some vegetables such as watermelon. For example, one watermelon requires 200 liters of water to be cultivated. So we had better to concentrate on the importing of the crops that are consuming water from abroad instead of planting them here in Libya. That's what I wanted to add.
Thank you. Thank you.
Water. Yeah.
Thank you. I have Amina Mani. He says, I'm so honored to have made the acquaintance of Professor Samarrai during his visit to Professor Chi's labs in Tunis. Such a living encyclopedia. Congratulations, Khalil, for your great job.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I agree with him. I agree with him. He is totally correct. Khalil is so good.
Thank you.
Actually, you're all quite impressive. I'm very honored to have you guys talking to us here. Thank you very much. I have a question here for actually it was said by Abdalraheem said, groundwater is a hidden resource, and a hidden resource is difficult to deal with, to be studied without being in physical contact. Well, this is an issue, right? How can we make it visible? That's our mission here with the Groundwater Project. So for both of you, how can we make it visible, not only for hydrogeologists, for people in general, so we don't speak among ourselves only, we have a higher reach, please.
Yes, I think as we said before, that education should consider this topic, and the way they should be explained to the people, whether they are regular or very high educated, because as I said, it is a manner, or it is a behavior of man. This means that we have to talk to the realization and conscious for the man, for the people. So how the people can realize that this problem is going to affect his life, and he has to be conscious and aware of using the polluted matter. I discussed this matter, I think 2-3 days ago with Abdalraheem, and I told him that we have to study the behavior of an old man. The old people protect their water more in very efficient way than we are doing now. So I told him that we have to study that part of time, because the relics of their life show us that they do so many things for protecting their quality of water, and they divide also. They divide the water. They divide the water. They put some for drinking and some for washing and some for irrigation and some for that. So from where they get their knowledge, from their experience of life. So we have to follow that sense. We have to follow that sense of people, how they save and protect their water. And we have to make this as a schedule of training, schedule of giving thoughts to the people, starting from any age. Because if we keep teaching the human from his starting growth till he continue his education, I think we can plant this thoughts of protecting idea and saving the water, whether it is surface or groundwater.
Very good.
Yes,
Thank you.
Everton.
Abdalraheem.
Yes. Really, the person who proposed this title is very smart. How to make the groundwater visible? Few words, but very big meaning. To make the groundwater visible, either for the hydrogeologists and for the researchers and scientists, and also for the public. So, according to my opinion, the groundwater should be visible by the scientists and the researchers at first. Continuous studies and researches and collaboration in this field is required regionally, internationally, and even nationally. So the groundwater should be continuously monitored, continuously studied, continuously protected. And for the people, as our colleague mentioned in the previous session from Malta, he said that the responsibility for the groundwater protection is not for the hydrogeologists or for the scientists only, but also all the people are responsible for the groundwater protection. And this can be made only by the awareness and consciousness, as my colleague Khalil mentioned. Awareness should be disseminated and should be made by all the ways, by the platforms, by the TVs, and any ways that can be used. So I mean that, or to summarize my idea, we have two ways. We have to collaborate for researches and studying the groundwater, and to aware the people with the importance of this resource that we cannot see. We are consuming something that we cannot see until suddenly it finished and we will be in a disaster. And I hope so that will not happen.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Well, I asked you to tell the story of the Zamzam well, as well as the story of the man-made river. That was very, very interesting, because we see that for people that are not hydrogeologists, because for us hydrogeologists, groundwater is already in our mind, in our hearts. So, it's our lives. We know the importance because we studied and we understand that. For the people that don't know, usually, and that's a fact that people use in communication, people are attracted to stories, not to scientific facts. So when we relate the hydrogeology of the Zamzam well with the story of the well, which is a very beautiful story, people tend to think, and it's much easier for people to take care of that well because the well means something that came from a story that touched their hearts. It's the same story as when you think of the man-made river. Man-made river is so important for the country right? It may have some problems. You can argue here and there, but it's a story that makes, you know, the lives of people better, right? So those things are very powerful in communication, and he used some ideas that really touched people. I'm very glad that you mentioned. And some of the inspirational sentences that I have used are very welcome. So our time is up. I know it's late for you now. And I'd like to thank you very much for being so kind and so generous to help us with the groundwater project. If you could put a good word for people who are watching and who will watch you on YouTube, please leave your message. Khalil first, please.
Well, yes. Really, I'm very glad following the event from the start to this time, and you know, I'm thinking what I'm going to do after 26th of February. So this event let me live in a very well, very in a pleasure and in a happiness, really, looking on the ideas of the people around the world and how they are thinking and how the things is reacting in their way of dealing with the water resources and the groundwater specifically. So I hope all the people get benefits from this, and especially those people are attending our sessions during the time from the 3rd of February till the 26th of February. And we wish to thank you very, very, very much, Everton and your team, and all the people leading the groundwater project. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. You're doing a great job for us. Thank you very much. You're very kind, Khalil. Thank you. Abdalraheem, please.
Yes, dear Everton, you have done a great job indeed in this successful event. It was very valuable and it was very successful indeed. I will take this opportunity to call all the people in the world and Arab people and other countries to take care about the water, either surface water or groundwater, but the groundwater in particular, because it is difficult, as I have mentioned, to deal with. This is a resource essential for the life, or it is the life itself. If there is no water, there is no life at all. So thank you for all the team, for all the sponsors of this event, and I hope that it will repeat. And thank you very much for involving us in this. And you have honored us to contribute in this event, and we are quite impressive for that. And thank you very much, dear Everton. Thank you.
Thank you. Our honor. Our honor. Thank you very much. And of course, I hope to meet you in person soon. Let's hope that this pandemic goes fast, right? So we can have fun together, talk about groundwater. It's good to have, you know, we share the same good goals for water in our planet. Thank you very much. You were very kind. And you watching us, watch the whole thing, check the phrase. They're very inspirational. Those are great guys, you know, very, very intelligent, knowledgeable. Don't miss it. Thank you very much. Thank you guys. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Bye.